Okay, so for the second half of the notes here, we're going to watch a couple of videos. Here's the first one.
I'm Mike Wallace. Turn on, tune in, drop out. Why don't we all turn on together?
Greed is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
It's over. Go away.
Okay, that was your first video, and then here's your second one about baby boomers.
Get your motion ready. Head out on a treadmill. The heating pad is warming. In case your herniated disc gills. We're aging boomers but refuse to show it. I just had implants and a tummy tuck. A triple bypass and 2 knee replacements. And an organ sucks. I just took Viagra. Both the kids are our age. I'll go get some Merlot. Let's hope it won't inflame your prostate. We're baby boomers, the original rebels. Used to smoke pot, but now we drink green tea. We tripped on acid, now we have acid reflux. We're in the ARP. We were spoiled, pushy, wild. But now we're born, tubby and mild. We used to get so high. Now they call us dry. Boy, tubby, mild. Boy, tubby, mild. Boy, I'm exhausted.
Is it your heart? Are you having chest pains? Have you been taking your Plavix? Let me call the doctor. You sit there. I'll be right back. You just stay there. I'm gonna call the doctor right now. Don't you worry.
Oh. Anyway, like I was saying, shrimp is the fruit of the sea. You can barbecue it, boil it.
Now, looking at technological advances, there's the transistor. The first computer that was made was called the ENIAC, ENIAC, and that stood for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. Basically, what the ENIAC did was it just computed numbers. It was just a massive calculator. The ENIAC took up an area about the size of the classroom, and it put off a tremendous amount of heat. It was everything the makers of it could do to keep it from overheating. That was the first computer that we had. The ENIAC was able to do about 5,000 calculations per second. The laptops that we have today can do probably 100,000 calculations per second. So tremendous increase. The transistors, basically what the transistor did was it allowed for technology to shrink in size. And so you take the radios that they used to have before transistors. Radios were something that were literally a piece of furniture, and it took, multiple grown men to move one. Now, with the advent of the transistor, a radio is something you can hold in your hand. Moving on to medical developments. During the 30s, 40s, and 50s, polio was something that was very rampant across the United States. And just like we have hospitals across the U.S. today whose main reason for existing is to try to find a cure for cancer, we had hospitals back then, and their main reason for existing was they treated people with polio. Again, if you have polio, polio is a neurological disorder. It's going to impact your nervous system, and basically your body's going to send message via those nerves, and your body's not going to receive those messages. So for example, if you had polio, you could potentially die from it because your lungs are not going to receive the message that they need to expand and contract. So you were placed inside of an iron lung, and the only part of you that was not in the lung was your head. And basically it was like a 55-gallon metal drum that had been cut in half, and you laid inside of it, your head stuck out. It was like a compression chamber. It would force pressure on you. That would put pressure on your lungs, which would cause you to exhale. And then as the pressure would ease up, you would inhale, and it would work your lungs that way so that when you were going through the worst part of the illness, you could survive. Eventually, like Franklin Roosevelt, you could hopefully recover for the most part from it. Well, Jonas Salk came up with a vaccine that allowed people, you could be vaccinated so that you would not contract polio. I'm telling you right now, until a cure is made for cancer, the vaccine that Jonas Salk came up with is the single greatest medical breakthrough in the history of this country. That's the kind of grip that polio had on the United States back then, that you can make that kind of a claim. And like I said, until someone comes up for a cure for cancer, that is some type of medication that you can take that not only can keep cancer from getting worse, but can also prevent you from getting cancer. That's what Jonas Salk's video, or not his video, but his vaccine meant to this country. That is it for section 3 of chapter 22 and your notes.